All right, so I'm terrified to ask, so I'm not going to. I shared out the contact form information code and stuff after the last class. We were going to the idea was that you were going to try to get it to work. Is there anybody that needs help with that? Okay.
Your phone's not being pulled in, or it's just not like functioning. Should I go back and look at? Oh, maybe it does work. Oh, yeah, okay, oh, I'm good. Oh, it didn't work. Yeah, I think.
Make sure it's working off of your server. Well, in your case, mine, but it should be working off of your server. Making the week 16 module available. I'm gonna put the file up on the practical as well. It is right here so that we can ask questions so that there's no misunderstanding about the expectations or I can't be put in a position where I hear that people are making mumblings to others outside of the classroom, outside of my presence about me. And we're recording it too, so we can go back to that as well. Or a contact section. Essentially, what needs to be done here is, of course, don't use your phone number ever. You need to be able to, I need to be able to fill out the form, and I need to be able to send a message. All the code is there for you. It's all there in that zip. I can,
Right, mine is, indicated that the message said that I'll be back in contact with you soon.
so it worked.
It won't actually email, will it?
Yeah, it should email.
Because I put my email to check it and it didn't. It takes a little while.
Okay, let's cover that in a minute. I am recording, so we'll go over that and you'll be able to resort back to that. So, and it should look somewhat presentable. It's already responsive for you. There's nothing you have to do with that. It's already there. I have that all laid out for you. Awards. I'm going to clean these up today in class. You can use the video to drive yourself as much as you would like at minimum. Even if you're going to use my stuff, I want your content in there. So first of all, sorry. The email must be completed. For the awards section, whether you have awards or not or whatever, you can change it after the fact. But what we're going to work on is maybe you want them stacked all the time. That's fine. I'm not going to debate with you about that. I just want them to be completed with content. And it doesn't have to be a lot of content. It can be whatever. Just, I don't want to read my content over and over and over again here. And really what I'm looking for you to demonstrate in most of these, most of the efforts is that you're walking away at least with something, right, that you may choose to build on after the fact. And so what I would like to see, and I will go through and clean mine up in class here today. I'll work backwards from contact up through to make sure, right, that you have a reference point and that my expectations are clear. But honestly, at the end of the day, again, this part of the honestly, this class, you're not getting hammered with really anything as far as a final. I'll just put 3 cards. Does that make sense to everybody? Guess that's a little confusing next to the 1.
You want us to replace the placeholders with the.
Content must be replaced with your own image. Replaced.
Do we have to use 3 cards, like if we have something else instead of cards?
Dude, if I see an effort, I'm going to give you,
Okay.
right? I'm giving you bare minimum. So if anybody wants to hop off the rails, and honestly, what I would suggest you do is make sure you're at that line first and then go hop off the rails. And if you go hop off the rails and you blow up a section, submit it. I'm not going to punish you for trying, right? I'm not going to punish you for trying. But do me a favor, get it to that, at least to that spot, so that you can commit a branch where it's like, I'm laid out. right? And then make a branch. So you can always revert if you need to. But I'd sooner see you're screwed up trying to hop off the rails, to be honest with you. I'd be more impressed with that. Not for you, sir.
If I have a drop-down list for my awards section, that still be good?
Dude,
Okay.
right? As long as if you're demonstrating like, hey, I tried to take this the extra mile, who am I to punish you for that? Right? It's be a kind of shitty approach to grading, if you ask me. All right, so that's the awards. Contact, honestly, I want to put it this way because you'll have to step outside of yourself for this one, but you know what I mean by validation? Yeah.
I'll take it, it's an email.
Right. And you can even start cheap and work. What I mean by start cheap is HTML5 elements, like input elements, if you go out and search HTML5 input elements, all kinds of things you can put right there in the tag for validation. Without even writing a lick of JavaScript, it'll automatically, like if you put required in the email address and you click submit and you don't have it in there, but you have that required in the tag, it won't submit it. And it'll give a pop-up. It'll give a default browser. And it'll look different in different browsers. But the cool part is that's part of what's cool about HTML5 is the browsers are built to adapt to that. And their default style sheets are way better than they've ever been. Interests. I'm going to make it pretty easy, right? And not to be cheap, but it just doesn't make sense because some of you might choose to keep a consistent look, and I don't want to force you to not. That's not fair of me to do that. So honestly, I can pretty much safely education, experience, education, up, skills, interests. We can talk about in a second. I just want to Yeah, I'm actually just going to keep it that simple. About section. Bare minimum, if nothing else, should look something like this. Fair enough, right? And I mean, if you, the about, again, you will not be penalized if your format matches my format. I'm actually more worried about you getting content, and hopefully that sparks an interest in you continuing to work on the site and use it and things like that. So the about and the landing, we'll call this landing, right? Essentially, about and landing sections must be completed successfully. Content must be replaced with your own image/images replaced with your own. Creativity encouraged, right? Extra points for creativity. Other sections, with exception to contact us, must have a minimum of 3 cards or 3, right? 3 whatever. Cards can be interpreted as 3 ways of collecting your group together or presenting your information. I say 3 because 3 is harder than 2, right? Because you want it to, 3 can make you wonky, is my point, right? Because it'll come down to here in the, you'll see. Image replaced with your own, leaving that pretty, and then contact section. Kind of talked about that, and I'll go over that, and then we're going to work on now and have been kind of going around and roundabout. Stop. So annoying. So then responsive. Let me save this real quick. So when I talk about responsive, right? First of all, I would get points taken off because my image isn't. Be fair. You don't have to do the image the way I was trying to. As a matter of fact, when I hit this part, I might just revert back, right? Because at this point, you want it done so you can refactor and redo and things like that. You want it to look right responsively. So I will check. I'll come through this way. And let's be really fair. I'll go through with a laptop touch. I'll check that link, 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 and I'll send an email. Then I'll take it and I will go down to iPad. And I won't spend too much time here, to be honest with you. But what I would like to see is that, and honestly, leveraging Bootstrap, this shouldn't be too difficult for you. You'll see, because I'll clean this up real quick today with the classes. I'll go through and I will, right? That bothers me, but I won't take points off. But I don't like that. But at the same time, what do you, right? What do? You're kind of like in between 2 worlds with 3. And that's why I say 3, because some of you might accept that as a challenge and be like, you know what? No, I want to present this differently with 3 when it's in tablet mode. Same thing there. right? And so I'll come through and hopefully I'll succeed inside of class time. Actually, at the end of class, I will keep working so that the video covers every last part. Come through and I'll look at that on iPad. And then I'll go with it, iPhone X. Be glad you don't have to mess with the form because the form can take too long. It's pain. And again, I'm going to come through and I'm going to take a look and we'll cover some of these, right? Some of this stuff is in class now. And so I have some adjustments to make there as well. So just so we're clear, and I will attach this video to this as well. I call tablet touch. Laptop with touch. What I would like please make sure that your link and be certain a link to your hosted site is in your README. And Don and Travis, I'll accept that if you put the link to your Git pages hosted because, well, your PHP won't work on there.
Yeah, I checked mine today and I don't know that.
Okay. It won't work in there because it won't process PHP. But basically, what I want you to submit is a link to your repository. Make sure there's a link to your working site there, online. Save. Files are there. I'll bring these things down to the rubric as we go today. And then all you're going to have basically is a 15 question final on anything that we've had questions on already. So with that said, Don, if I don't get to helping you, I will, but I want to focus on making sure that we're comfortable with where we're going. Me personally, I love low-hanging fruit, right? And what do I mean by low-hanging fruit? Well, I already kind of did the content. I pulled a finished version of the contact form for you. So, I would go after the contact form. And when you go after the contact form, what you have to remember is that it's not as overwhelming as you might think. Meaning, the files that I've provided for you, come on, are already basically everything that you need with the exception of changing links. Oh my God, what is that? Atom installer. So your contact form, inside what I gave you, first of all, you already have a jump on validation. All you have to do is make sure that it's linked to your site. Because this is doing a lot of extra validation, which honestly, to me, is a great thing because you can continuously come back as you build other sites or you move forward or whatever you're going to do. You can continue to pull from this and learn from it, which makes it, in my opinion, pretty valuable. You want to make sure that in your HTML, that you have, right, your contact JS and your validation linked in there. I will keep and copy and paste because honestly, I don't want to deal with coming back and realizing I spent 20 minutes chasing something that was misspelled. Drive me nuts. If I save that, at this point, we should be linked into there. And you don't have to work in this view, right, when you're working on the form. It's probably better not to work in a let's see. So it's not letting me submit. Not letting me submit. It's letting me submit. Come over and look. Because I'm on a local, it's not going to let me reach out to my server. So when you're working on this, right, you got to point it to your server and you got to use it that way. Um, oh, it did. Why did it get that error? You can see it did. And let me send a post. We can see that the form data was sent across to the server. And the server replied with, thank you. So I need to revisit that error and see what the hell it's talking about. No, it made it through. It processed. The server just got jerky about it because, right, we're going cross-domain kind of thing. I'm going from localhost, but it triggered off the email. And so once you get it up there and you get it hosted, you should not get that error. But if you're working from localhost, you probably get that error. There's a good chance you'll get that error. If I go in and I look, right, this is where it's all happening from. It's calling the PHP file here, inside here. Me 5xx. Let me slow down for a second and make sure I'm getting this right. That's the alert message the message that we get back. And that's supposed to reset the form. So that error is definitely tripping out, right? Because it should come back and reset the form. Getting emails though.
You get an email?
Yeah.
I said mine gave me that message, but I didn't get it.
I'm checking again. Make sure it's not an illusion.
Here's a check my junk folder.
Nope, it's not firing through. So instead of getting too hung up here, today, 2nd.
Yep.
That's fair enough. We could spend the whole class doing this. So, right. So if there's not a video there by the 14th, I mean the 4th, I cannot grade you on form functionality. Fair enough? Because I could spend the whole class trying to, right, and just confuse the shit out of you, and then, well, we really got nowhere, right? So if you, when I get the rubric and you see in there, which this will happen, but you see in there and it doesn't for some reason, I will remove that from the rubric. Okay, like I'll pull it out, those points out of the rubric. We'll treat it like that wasn't even part of the process. Because I don't want to spend all day on this. And I think, honestly, at the end of the day, I need to make a video showing you, let's load this to your server. Let's do your contact form from your server. And the cool thing is honestly, on your server, I'm hoping it's a 3-minute video, right? Like upload, change this, change that. There you go. If it didn't work and you're running into errors, contact me because then something's right, something's not right. All right. So one of the things that we have been kind of fighting with a little bit, not fighting, whatever you want to call it. I've been on this thing where I like things to be right, certain size. I don't like that in the top there, and we know that that's been the section, and I think I've corrected it like 18 times now. That section we want to sit up there. You don't, again, this might not work out for what you do, but if you're going for bare minimum, right, so that definitely is the issue there. What I want to do with this section though is I want, honestly, at this point, I just want 0, 0, 0, 0. And then I don't think I want to mess with Bootstrap, to be honest with you. So I think what I want to do is just say padding top. And not, because if I explicitly say padding top, it won't mess with Bootstrap's defaults, right? So now that I'm padding top, your numbers don't have to be exact. You don't have to be exactly what I have. Some of you might want more space. Some of you might want less space, right? That I don't care about. It's that you have the content in there. So I'm going to set that section to padding top. I know where I'm picking that up at. Isn't that funny? I think I just have to go out and overwrite one of my own. Padding top. I don't know where we're picking up that other padding top. Let's see if it's going to fight us. Education. Good. We're still, the resizer is still working well. If I come in here, I'm really curious. That's coming out of scrolling nav. Padding top, which is fine because what that's doing is that's adjusting for us the scroll for what we're doing, right? So
You want to leave that in there?
yeah, I would leave it in there. Might be able to take it out. Personally, with it working right now, I wouldn't bother with it. I really wouldn't. I'd be scared too. Because JavaScript's probably picking up on these numbers and things could be happening that we're not aware of right now. So padding becomes a problem. Now that we just had that conversation, I'll at least remember that I'm picking up some padding in different places. I'm going to go to the top. I'm going to start where I was before. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select my iPhone X. I'm going to go down to contact. I need to change that content there a little bit. And I'm not going to go after content. I'm going to go after look and feel right now. So as far as that goes, honestly, right out of the gate, you should be okay with your contact form. And you should be okay to the point that you should be able to go, which on an iPad, that would not look so bad. And then you should be able to go. I might try to clean that up, but again, I'm going through for my first time, meaning what is absolutely horrible and needs help, right? What I got to get a grade on this. How am I going to, right? I'm got to get paid. I got to get this delivered. The client's coming to look at it. Look at it however you want, but make yourself go through it in steps. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flop myself back to iPhone X, and I'm going to try to stay in there for a little while. Go down to awards. The awards, honestly, at this point, with the way that they're showing up, right? I don't know how much I like that. So whether I like it or not, whether I want to or not, I'm probably going to have to dip and dive back and forth. I believe I'm pulling from demo pages. Interest, contact. Why are you in my contact page? Donald?
I'm getting out, sir.
Who the hell do you think you are? Part of my contact form problem, just so, right, hopefully this rings a bell for you. It'll be included in the video, but I bet this has a little something to do with what was going on there. The only reason I hopped in here is because while I'm in here, might as well update that. Come back out to my pages, class demo, awards. So in here in awards, right, I'm looking at, I have these cards. And I'm using Bootstrap classes, which is good. But what I run into is get Bootstrap is right that overflow of the cards. And we don't like the way, honestly, I'd just rather not show them. I'd rather not show the cards if that's what's, if that's how it's going to look. Luckily, we have a way. We go into our documentation and we go into, I believe it's utilities. And we go in here, we can find, let's not waste time, display. I can go to display. And I can grab these classes. And what's cool about these classes, right, is at the end of the day, we can go make media queries and play with this shit all day long. And we can go nuts. But again, driving you back to not to become dependent on frameworks, but the value of framework. I can take this D, which stands for display, say small. We know we have 5 breakpoints, right? Display none. Over here, and I have a couple choices that I can make here, honestly. And I think when I look at it, maybe, I really want them to have this information. And the picture isn't that important as the information. I wonder what would happen if I just got rid of the pictures when we were on a smaller viewport. Would that shrink up my information the way I want it to? So I could come in here and I could say, class, hopefully this don't. Right, and I'm doing this rather than get rid of all the information. Let's just see what happens when I get rid of the image information. Refactoring is where we raise the question of, now, are we loading images on mobile devices that don't need to be loaded? Right? So that's a fair and pertinent question at the moment. Well, what we really want to do and we are on awards, right? So let's go to refresh, make sure we emptied our cache, make sure we're really getting back. Let's go to awards. Doesn't seem to be working. So I'll do what I should have done to begin with. The class is in there, display, small. Let's try medium, play here, apply there. Let's see if it's even picking up the class. There's D none should just, and it does. Display. Small. I wonder if we need to apply it. How did they have it out here? I think the order. Small, display block, medium.
Aren't you extra small at this point? Yes.
Yeah, maybe I need to start deeper, right? Like further.
I think you're EX right now and SM.
So display XS, right? Medium. Maybe we need to go at it this way, right? So display none. We're taking a mobile first approach, correct? So we're saying on mobile, we don't want to see it. And then we could say, let's just take it out a little further than medium just to see. MD or M? Can't remember.
MD.
So that would work. Because now, unfortunately, we got to fix the other ones. We're only messing with this one. But if I bring that down to iPhone, go to awards, and it wouldn't be jumping like us, so that's not a concern, right? But that looks good. Like that is what we want because, again, with Bootstrap, we're going from a mobile first approach. So it's working its way out. And so by setting it to display none, right, it's applying those rules from a mobile first perspective, meaning those rules are not inside a media query and therefore they're applied immediately, right? And the media queries are fired off depending on the size. And so what we should be able to do is just come in here and replace these. And honestly, if you're going to waste time on, not waste, right, but if you're going to put time into this final, this is kind of what I want you doing, is figuring out how do I make these things look nice in here, right? And make them look nice from 3 different perspectives. I promise you this, I would recommend, do you see how quickly I ended up pulling the tab out of that window and putting it in its own window so I can alt tab back and forth? If you don't think that way, maybe that'll like trip it off in your head for you. Here's the other thing. So we know that we want, there's a reason why when you develop, yes, you care about everybody coming to your site. But if you know for a fact that the large majority of your people, 80% of your people are on iPhones, right? And they're on this and they're on that. That's what you go after first. And then you let customer service drive additional development, if that makes sense. Because for the most part, right, you're not going to hit every freaking phone. And it'll drive you crazy if you try to. But the one thing here that I do like, I like the idea of 3 cards. I'm noticing my cards pick up a little extra space down here. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to come back here. First thing I'm going to do is so I stop getting my head confused, right? Achievements, don't know if I spelled that right. Where am I picking up in the bottom? This padding. Because I feel like what I really want to go after is having 3 cards in there. Looks like I picked up a little up here. We can deal with that then. But more importantly, wherever I'm picking up this space in here, not quite sure where I'm picking up extra paragraphs. You see that? I'm picking up 2 extra paragraphs down here. And there. And there. So I bet WordPress can't explain that one. I have no idea where that's picking up extra paragraphs. That makes absolutely no sense to me. It's definitely not picking it up in here. Because now it kind of makes you question, like, am I working in the right place? You know what I mean? Which is good that I changed the title. So what I'm going to do, because I'm working in WordPress, I am going to come out and go to HTML beautifier. Make sure I'm not missing, right, anything in here. The other thing, because I'm picking up all these extra divs, sometimes when you're working in WordPress, it's kind of nice to just go ahead and validate. I don't know if this is going to let me validate without body tags. Figured that. But what I'm happy to see is that essentially, right, I'm getting no red in here, which means I didn't pick up any additional divs or anything that's causing me wonkiness. And so what my next question would be is, and I think I might already know the answer because it's trying to do auto height. And it makes me wonder, but I would put it out there. Use this correct HTML tag to add a paragraph. No. Let me do this too. I'm not overriding. Good. Just wanted to make sure of that. So we know that gets ugly. It's a little bit of a mystery to me, where they're coming from, and where that becomes frustrating, right, is what I'm trying to achieve, I believe, could achieve by gaining back that that space. Well, I don't need to go any further. You see what I mean? I gain back that space, and I'm not quite sure. I'm a little perplexed, to be completely honest with you. The one place I didn't check yet is in my JavaScript. Is my JavaScript doing something funky in there? So let's just close out that stuff. Make sure we're good in there. We are. App.js. Section render. I don't think there's anything else down here. So with that being a mystery, right, and you got to push through and you got to get this done, what I would suggest in this section, you want to get through and then you want to go back through, right? So what I would highly suggest in this section is you have a couple options that you can do here. The one, we could go after the height of the card. Man, that bothers me. We could go after the height of the card, and we could go after a max height. The other thing that we could do, because we're not doing the cards dynamically, in the end of the day, so that we can move on, and if we have to submit or render to the client, what we can do is we know that two of them fit in there nicely. They do leave a little space, and we don't like that, and we really do want to come back and take care of the issue. But at the same time, if we have to move forward, we have to move forward. And the best way to move forward, in my opinion, is what's kind of cool is we can come down here and take that out of the image. We can come up here into the card itself, and we can say only show that last, right, the third card. So if you were doing a loop with JavaScript, you would apply this like after X number, if you knew that, right? And what that should do for us, that should let me go down to awards, and it yields exactly what I wanted it to yield. Ironically, somehow we got rid of those paragraph tags too, by the way. You see that?
They say you were saying you only wanted two, but they shrunk and you got three anyway.
What the hell? Am I fighting another? I feel like I might be fighting like another source and don't realize it. Responsive awards. So no, I have 4. And then, right, when I shrink down, it goes down to 3. So that fourth one is the one that I put that on. Display none. Right, display none. What has me, honestly, what has me perplexed is the idea that all of a sudden that phantom paragraphs is making like 3 per card, something like that. They're gone. So what we'll say is happy day and not, right, cry about it. There's a point where if I'm in my tablet and I go to awards and I look at it, that I might consider, you might consider, depending on what you're doing, right, breaking them into 2 columns. Or you might be happy with that. I can tell you if I'm grading your work and I'm looking at this and I see that, that's pretty cool. I mean, no, that's not perfect, but right, it's a hell of a lot better than looking like crap. And then I go like this. And I see that. Could it improve? Sure. Could it be better? Yeah. Is it acceptable? Yeah. Right? It's a presentation. It doesn't look like ass. I mean, no, but you know, there are things that might bother, like the space bothers me. I can't help it. The space bothers me. And I'm saying that there should be space there. That's where, right? That's where I got to be really careful. Like when I'm grading, I've learned it's not about what I like. It's about what's right, you know. Does that bother me? Yeah. Right. I would, is that acceptable? Gets the stuff across, right? But honestly, what we would probably want to do here where's card right there. Card, I think I might try Paul LG 6 might be what I want, right? I'm working off of 12 columns. Saying when it's large, I'd rather you take up.
Two per row.
So if I come down here now, is that even going to work?
Should already be setting it up there.
Should be, I would think. I think has to do with our margin. Nope, nothing to do with our margin.
It's showing 2 boxes.
Put them up.
Yeah. So what really might be the issue there is that I have to go back and go even deeper, right? I'm focused on that, and I should go up here and make sure that what I'm doing here. So I have row, no gutter, my achievements, that. So it really makes me wonder if I did this. Edit as HTML. What a mess that looks like, right? But if I come in here and I know my cards are there, what if I came in and I said div class equals container. Everybody watch my spelling, please. I don't feel like chasing spelling errors. I'm going to put 2 closing tags down here because, nope, not there. Sorry. Card 1, card 2. So I'm going to put a div here. Class equals row. So what am I doing? Can somebody tell me what I'm doing while I'm doing this?
You're making it so your cards line up next to each other instead of on top of each other.
And by using row, I could come through, honestly, I could come through and say the whole thing. But what I'm going to opt to do at this point, I think, just to make sure that I'm getting the right perception, what I'm trying to do, copy, paste, paste, paste. Let's go ahead and just take that a while and see how I'm getting it over now. Because what I'm doing is giving it explicit directives saying act like you're in a row. So in other words, when you're not in a row, when you're at that break point, right, that applies. And when I'm out here, this applies. So I know I'm going down the right road. I can see that my columns, right, have been applied here. And I could do the same thing down through there. Now, the thing is, well, we just, right, with playing with that, for any of you that need to go and want to go, with playing with that, the one thing that we know for certain is that if we break this, if we break that into rows and columns, we're pretty safe, right? We're able to make that flow in a certain way that we want it to. I believe this is already not ideal. Well, it's taking my computer a little time to react. But your skills are already there. Probably could be nicer. I would do the hide thing in here that I just demonstrated down there, right? And honestly, these two, you can apply exactly what we're applying to awards with. So those of you who got to go, I'm going to keep recording. That's fine. But I'm going to go ahead and get this fixed so that you have something to reference. See, I think that these cards, look at the margin on, and I did lift the margin off of by putting the row in the container because now it's saying margin relative to the column, the row, and My biggest question is, do we need to go row and container? And so I guess I would ask that by coming in here and saying inspect. That we know that that's always going to take up 12. This is, if we watch that, that's something to be kind of pay attention to, because this is kind of doing a whole collective thing, which means anything we do inside of it is going to do that as well. So I just want to give this one more shot, see if this will do it. Tall, medium, 6. Row, row. I would think those bad boys would pick up there. So the best thing you can do for yourself, honestly, is go over to Bootstrap itself and peek at if they have cards side by side, which I know they do. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I feel pretty confident to the point that what I feel like we need to do, I'll come out and work in this HTML that's clean so I can see what I'm doing. I'll come to each card. Oh, it's not going to let me work in there. Come to each card. So there's a card. And I'm going to put space in between each one of my cards so I don't get lost before I start working. I can do this in my editor too, but all I'm doing is adding in a couple pieces. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. Bam. See if that makes sense. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right. Leave that opening divs at the top and the trailing divs at the bottom. So now hopefully they go like that. Column 6, small row, column class. Go back here. I'm looking to steal this and apply it. I think I just double pasted, that's all. That goes there, 6. I close out the column. Paste another column in there. And honestly, close out the column, close out the row. Div. Div. So I'm closing those two out. I'm opening up here. And I'm really hoping that if I do that, and then here, close my column div. Come in here, close my row column. select it all, copy, go in here, select it all, paste. The only problem with working with WordPress, but after a while, you kind of get used to. For the benefits that you get out of it, sometimes it's worth it. Honestly, I would take this and treat this like a prototype and do everything post. So in other words, all my formatting would be out on my site. I would just be pulling posts, right? But this is just the first step in an evolution. So if I put this in here, hopefully what I get, hopefully, is that, right? And then as I close it, I can go in and change those numbers, right? I can manipulate it to act more the way that I want it. But more importantly, now we can look at these things and we can go to our iPhone X, we can go to awards, and that's my achievements. And look at that, we got those P tags back. Don't know where the hell they're coming from. I'm going to actually scroll to the top, refresh. Those P tags are going to fight us. But what's nice is when I do come out to iPad, right, I get them in a different way. So the only thing I'd really want to change there is the image in the way that it's displaying in the card itself, which to me, that's acceptable right now. If you just have an image that you're going to put in there, that to me, that would be acceptable. Like you're working with it, you're trying to get it right. These guys, I think these guys are the same issue. I think these guys can be solved the exact same way, which is if you look, it really does seem it. It really does. It's the same opportunity as awards, which is just breaking into rows and columns and doing. Honestly, I'd probably put these at large at 3. It is large at 3. Sure isn't acting that way, is it?
Yeah, why, if you say it's 3, it should go.
The 4 should go together, right? 4 of them should go together at this point. Let's turn off responsive for a minute. They're saying large at 3. Medium 3. Extra small 12. Just making sure I'm not dancing with the devil. Content. There. I swear. I wonder. Edit. Div. Class. Container. Div. Class equals row. These freaking P's, man, they're like popping up all over the place. I was wondering if by forcing it in a container row, Wonder if it just has to be a row. So in order for those classes to recognize their value, they have to be nested inside a row. And a row,
Container in a row.
right. And a row should always be inside a container. Should always. I think there are times that you get away with it, that it actually makes you kind of a shitty developer sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
Why- I mean, we pulled this code in, why would they not have that? in the
no, because they're probably a shitty developer. Fair enough. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead right here in the title as well. And that's really weird. Oh, we're in awards. I'm going to do it in awards too. I'm going to kind of section off title from,
It's actually should pick both of them without doing all the other stuff. that's there.
what's that?
That should fix both of those.
Yeah, this is achievements. So we were in awards, right? I mean, skills. I think on my professional site, I want to put a picture of Napoleon Dynamite. Seeing I've got skills. We brought these skill styles over, but there's nothing in there to really, you know what I mean, to really hurt. And this starts at div class container row class, what I can do. To be honest with you, I see it working here, right? So divs container skills, let's see. Div class container. Where the hell's div container skills? That could be taking us for a ride, by the way. You see that?
That,
Said that could be taking us for a ride. I'll leave it there for a minute because I think we're using it inside here. But that's a pretty shitty thing to do, if you ask me, is put that in there. Did I go under class demo? Skills. Is it skills or interests? It's interests, damn it. I'm glad I questioned that. Container skills 5. Container skills 5. Row, blah, blah. It's in that section. I'm going to go ahead because I know I have it the way I want it in there. I'm literally just going to lift this for right now. What's inside that section? Copy it. My SVG stuff is in there. That's all that is, by the way. Don't let that bother you. Let's go this way. My browser is really pissed. You see that? It is really pissed. Skills, interests. We got that up there. It is not liking me in the least bit. What the hell is going on? So console.
Maybe close your inspect and bring it back open and maybe that'll fix it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Inspect. Remember, no JavaScript tonight.
Oh, okay.
I'll be putting out the final stuff. There we go. So that's okay. That's an easy win, right? That don't bother me. That overlapping, because we know we can fix that. We can fix that right here.
Yeah, I was wondering why they had 333.
Yeah, it's kinda-
Why not do
Kind of freaking confusing.
3, 4, 6, 12?
Well, 3, maybe 4.
Or 3, 6, 6, 12?
Yeah.
That, because if you do 4, then you're gonna come out often.
I mean, it's small and extra small. I almost say let it go. You know what I mean? And do 3, 6, 12.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, that makes a little more sense, right? That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Right? So again, depending how confident you feel about what you're doing, I'll go in here now. Edit as HTML inside my skills container. And I'll just grab, right, all of that. Go over here. Grab my skills. I believe skills comes down. It was later. I don't know where that came from, but I'm about to kill it. Control V. Update. You see that?
You're just pissing everybody off.
Oh, yeah. It's all right. I'm okay with it.
Piss on them if they can.
Even Google. Right? Skills, interests. So, for the sake of it, right, you definitely want to find a way to put more interest in. But again, what we're demonstrating is that we have the skill, the ability to go in and make that work, right? So then the next one I go at is skills. This one, I think, inspect. We're in rows, container, inside this box. We're pulling in font awesome, which is fine, but I'd rather probably pull that out, you know what I mean, and put it somewhere else. But for now, the hell with it. What can I do? My box is picking up margin somewhere. So I might put M-0 and see what that does. Nothing. About the bootstrap. Again, I'm trying to stay with bootstrap, right? And stick with the tools that I have. It's kind of the fun part of it, if you ask me. Sometimes putting constraints around yourself, having to use something, it's kind of a. So MT, right, is what we would use for there, I think. this box. Did absolutely nothing for us, right? Margin top 0. I would have to ask myself, what would happen if I did this? Edit as HTML. Get rid of the box. I have no idea what's about to happen to me. Get rid of the box.
Do a hard refresh.
Nope, I don't want a hard refresh, sir. Think about it. I have all these changes. Yeah, right. There you go. A lot of margin going on there. It's probably their styling. Box part, padding, margin, 10, 0. I like that better. I definitely like that better for now. And that's copy that. Skills, right? Yeah.
Part of that, we got 412 on that.
Yep. So I'm going to go take care of that before I lose that styling. You know what I mean? Right there it is. So what did I do? Padding, 3010. I'm sure where we're picking that up from. And this is where the challenges come in, right? When you start using other people's code, you can do a lot of cool things, but you can definitely end up with a lot of frustrations as well. So I'm going to go ahead and update that. I'm going to come over here. And for now, because I want to make it happen, I'll come out here into my index.html and I'll literally make sure that I come down here to the bottom in my body. I know we don't want to do this all the time. It's going to be the last thing it reads. So hoping that that'll apply, right? Because it'll pick it up last. You guys can go if you want. I just want to finish doing this so when I push the video up, you don't have to hang out. And I'll just talk to the computer because I want to talk about why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I think that those look good there. Some pretty craziness. column 4. Column 4, column 2. I don't know. 6,
Maybe 12 again.
12. Let extra small go and see what that does. So copy. 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 All right, is it doing anything? I'm not even looking. I imagine it would hold true right now, right? At the viewport we're at. I think it would have to. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. I don't know. In my opinion, that's way better than what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Damn it. I keep going into the wrong ones. This one was interest. The one we're working on now is skills, correct? What I can do, yes. That's weird. Yeah, it's the content's just wonky. That's what's doing it, though.
That's all that. I get this too.
Oh my God. I just wanted to scream an obscenity there.
I heard it.
Oh, and look at what I'm doing. You simple-minded. So mad at myself sometimes. I copied everything. So guess what I'm going to do now? Keep it real simple. Well, the other nice part about that is I know the last 4 I want to hide on extra small. I want to allow in medium or whatever, right? 4 of them. So I literally want to go in. I want to start here. And I want to say, inspect. I'm going to close that up. These, I want to say, display done. display none. Right, and with JavaScript, we would just do this like after two, right? Apply this class of display none. And of course, we would have to offset for medium. So now we're just two, which is good. As we open up, that's where I would say, so 6 medium. So display the next two. Is it D-M, D-B-L-O-C-K? Is that it? Then come down here. Put that in there. So at this point, we lose them as we go down. We gain them as we come up. And that's going to be LG. You know, play it safe, copy that, bring this down, come in here, say LG. I'm going to edit as HTML the entire box here. Select it all, copy, come over to here. I know that I have box and content, right? So therefore, damn it, div. I need 3. Paste that in there. Say a prayer. Got to say something to God for that one. Refresh. Skills. Telling you, man, these classes are pretty badass to use, you know, especially when you're trying to get through. This one, honestly, I don't think it's going to take that much work. Inspect. Card.
Brian, can I get this sign? I gotta go.
Bring it over. Small. 12. Yeah, I just want to get this video done. I want to go
I
to
got a dog that just got fixed today and I gotta go pick her up. She ain't gonna be happy.
Sween. There you go, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. 12.
See you at graduation. I'll be here Tuesday for the walkthrough, but there is no class Tuesday.
January, Friday, right?
Yeah, but there's no class with Brian Tuesday.
On the
Maybe I'll see you walking around. So if you feel something hit you in the back of the head, you know who threw it. For sure, huh? Travis.
That damn Trevor.
Yeah, good thing he left. See you later.
See you, man. I'm just finishing out these 2 sections so that,
Thank you, Brian.
yes, sir. Card. I know I don't want that. Cord. Cord. Jerk face. Not you. I'm not talking to you. Anything you hear come out of my mouth like jerk face or it's not intended for you. It's me talking to the screen. It stopped before I was done.
Do they have to be cards?
Nope.
Let's say that I found a way to like maybe like section root.
Yep.
I can use
Have at it.
because I was practicing on the other side card
Mm-hmm.
and I made a personal site of my own using section root. I thought it was pretty cool.
Right. I'm a,
Put that in there.
yeah, no, I'm 100% on board with that. Right. 100% on board with that. I'm more worried about just making an effort to, you know what I mean? Try and make it look decent.
If I can, I at least want to go all out for this.
That's what I'm hoping. It's what I'm really hoping. I'm hoping, right? If I give you, to be honest with you, I think that your knowledge check, your final, is going to be like 10 questions. Because I'd rather you spend a couple hours, messing with this and trying to figure it out. And honestly, that's what I'd rather see at this point. Like just what I'm doing here, And the funny thing is if somebody doesn't enjoy doing this, like messing with this, there's kind of a miss there on what you're, you know what I mean? Like what you want to be, because this is a lot of your life as a developer, it's just sitting like, all right, how do I make this work? How do I, yeah. Yeah. And then honestly, to me, I think the most important thing that I really get a kick out of is that, when you're done it, all you want to do is go back and do it again, right? Like you look at it and you're like, okay, that looks great. Now I really want to go and redo my, like go do the same, not redo the same thing, but go back and go through it again and manipulate it. Because as you do things like this, you like look at it and you learn something along the way, and then you're like, damn it, I wish I would have, thought about that sooner. Wow, you get to the end, you're like, wow, if I do that back here, it's a lot of work, but man, that would be cool. You know what I mean? Like it just drives you crazy. It's never done. It drives you nuts all the time.
That website, what I would do is like, I didn't know how to do a section root first. And find out later. So what I would do is I made a bunch of accounts because the maximum that you can have is 3 sites. But I would put links and like a lot of things, like different features.
Yeah. Yeah. Just that, right. Yeah. You find a way around, right? You find a way around it. It's funny when I first started learning, the big thing for me, and at this time, it really was a big deal, was like, how do you get other content into your site from somewhere else? And it was iframes. And so, like, you were constantly trying to find ways to use that iframe, right, to traverse those issues like you were having. Like, damn it, I can only get this here and I can only do that there. And how do I bring that in? And back then, iframes were so freaking ugly. Like, it was very obvious if you were using an iframe. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're great now, but they used to be like butt ugly. Like all you could do is bring in a page and it was surrounded by this big ugly, YT. Try this. Why? So that should work. Top and bottom, size. And it does. That's awesome. All right. So I have to bring PHP into the video. I'm going to address that last box. Unfortunately, I have to go to a meeting.